Wonderful. Well, Mike, I appreciate the time. Glad we could get together and kind of go through things. I don't think it'll take us too long to get through it. It is, well, obviously a very powerful solution, something that is also quite simple, right? I mean, that's one of the things that matters an awful lot to us, is simplicity. We've been doing this for 17 years or so now, and we really think that while there's a lot of people out there that can do things when it comes to doing what we do with the power that we have in doing so in a simple manner, that we've got something else here. So I want to make sure, can you see my screen okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. So eFileCabinet software is a very simple, as I said, solution. In fact, if you've used things like Outlook recently, it looks very familiar. That's on purpose, not because it's built on some similar platform, but because we want it to feel intuitive, something that you've seen before, something that you know how to move around in. Okay. It allows you the freedom to kind of customize the way that you would like to. In fact, on the left is where you get to really kind of determine what your structure needs to be. Now, obviously, I've got some structure built that just because I have it built doesn't mean yours would look anything like it, right?
Okay.
We mimic a physical file cabinet, Mike. So our highest level is just that. It is a cabinet, which is why you have a bit more general terms at the highest level, right? So you've got HR and you've got form, accounts receivable. So that's our highest. We do that to make it, again, intuitive. Below that, we have drawers. Now, these drawers can be projects, they can be vendors, they can be employees, they can be clients. They can be anything you need or want them to be, right? It's totally up to you. And below that, we can have the folders and subfolders that we would need to store the things that you'd like to store.
Okay.
These folders can be created as a template so that there's no reason to recreate that wheel each and every time, right? So we know that in HR, for example, we're going to need the same folders for every employee. We know that in forms, we're going to need similar forms for everybody. And in clients, we're going to need similar forms for everybody. And those folders need to live somewhere. So we can create those as a template so we don't have to reinvent it. And once we create a drawer, we can, with one click, add all of the appropriate folders necessary so that we can begin populating those with the documents that we need.
Okay.
And again, you can have as many of any of these objects as you would like named anything you need them to be named.
Okay.
Now, when we get into a folder, you'll notice that I can store anything: PDFs, Word docs, JPEGs, email messages. You know, it's totally up to you. We're not proprietary, so that should make life a little bit easier for you. Whatever you store them as is what they will remain.
Okay.
And then down below, we have our profile information. Tags, metadata, call it what you will, right? At the end of the day, profile information, anything we add here becomes searchable. And bear in mind that just like everything on the left, these fields are all completely customizable.
Okay.
So don't worry that I have some generic ones. You can have the ones that you need. All right?
Okay. Now, will it pull this information from the file as you click on it, or do you have to enter it for each file?
Well, it depends. We do have a way that you could pull it as you're bringing the document into the system. If you have repeatable documents, things that are the same over and over, but they just have, you know, different name, different number, things like that, then we do have a way to actually pull that information, populate this, and route the document. If they're all different documents, if you got 100 pieces of paper and all 100 are different, these are going to have to be added manually.
Okay. Now, you said there's a way. Is that included in the subscription, or is that an add-on?
That's one of two add-ons. So we have two add-ons. The one is the zonal OCR, which is what we were just talking about, right? Which will actually read specific fields or zones, go figure, on the document. It will remove that information, populate the data, and route the document. For example, make sure you get a feel for what that looks like. As I come here and click on this one here, you'll notice I have a preview of a check, and I've asked it to look for 4 fields, which is exactly what it's done. So it pulled this, it pulled the check number, it pulled this date, and then down at the bottom, it pulled the total amount, and it put that all here and routed the document for me. Okay, that's zonal OCR. The only other bolt-on is our standard OCR, which is essentially going to just index every word in a document and allow us to search based on keywords, phrases, things like that housed inside the document later.
Okay.
We'll get into that searchability here in just a moment, just so you can kind of get a feel for that as well.
Okay.
Once we have this preview, so we've got this information we can search based off of, we've also got this ability to add comments. Think digital post-it note here, right? Very simple, nothing too advanced there, but just a time and date stamped post-it note that I can come back and look at whenever I need to. Okay.
Okay.
We have this alerts ability that allows us to set alerts on a document for something that needs to be done. We can title that alert whatever we would like and set a date and time. We can customize it if we'd like, or just give it, 6 months, a year, 2 days, whatever that looks like. Leave a message as to what needs to be done, if that's what we'd like to do, and then select a recipient who needs it. Now, we can do individual recipients or groups of users, just depending on the document if we need to, but just kind of an easy way to make sure that if something needs to be done, we set an alert for ourselves and we know it's coming.
Okay.
Moving on, we have this ability to manage retention, which is really nice. Again, we generally would set this at a higher level. Rarely would we do it at the document level just because it would take a long time, but often we're going to do that at like the drawer or folder level. We can enable that retention, say, look, I know everything in this folder needs to be held for 3 years. We can protect, ensure no one deletes or modifies, right? Make sure it's the same document 3 years from now as the one we put in there today.
Okay.
And then we can give the system an idea what we'd like to do after the fact. Do we want to move it, let's say, to an archive folder? Do we want to purge it, get rid of it? Bearing in mind that whatever action we choose here, it is a reminder.
Okay.
We're not quite bold enough to just delete your data, but certainly bold enough to remind you and let you choose if that's something you'd like to do.
Okay.
Furthermore, we have this ability to add specific security permissions to our documents. Again, at any level, document all the way to a cabinet. We have view, open, edit, delete, and administer rights. You can give those out however you would like, of course, understanding that if you do not give someone view rights, they cannot see it when they log in. So if you have a private cabinet, right, just for executives of the company, no one would see it except for the executives of the company because we wouldn't give them access.
Right. Okay.
So it's not like it's just grayed out and people can be curious. It just doesn't show up.
Okay. So if you give them edit, does it automatically give them view?
Right. They have to have view rights to edit. That's exactly right.
No, I mean, let's say I want to take a shortcut and just click edit. Will it automatically give them view and open rights as well?
It will.
Okay, good.
Will.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Good.
So that's security. Very simple in that regard. That said, I haven't been doing this for as long as I have, and knowing that we're about 7 minutes into it, I don't want to just talk your ear off, Mike. Any thoughts or questions thus far about just the very basics of the left to right of eFileCabinet?
No, I'm pretty good. I mean, I've been asking you as we go, so.
Fair enough. Just want to make sure.
Okay.
Real simple. A few other things I want to make sure we talk about so that you understand what those look like. First of all, adding documents to the system. I want to talk about how we search for those, and then we'll talk about some of the other kind of ancillary features and functionality of eFileCabinet that does come with that enterprise version.
Okay.
Adding documents to the system are really done in kind of 4 main ways that are things you've done as long as you've been using a computer. The first of which, you can see we have a scan interface built into the system. If you have paper, you're going to have to scan it. We do have that scan interface built in, which would allow you then to scan directly to eFileCabinet without the need for scanning to somewhere else and bringing it in. That scan interface is very simple, as you can see here. As we scan documents in, they'll show up on the left side here in thumbnails. We can then batch them in. So, we don't have to scan one doc at a time. We could scan, 40 pages, and that might be 10 different documents, and we can just highlight the 4 we need, store them, highlight the next 4, store them, so on and so forth.
Okay.
So that's scanning. The second way to get them in is very simple. It's a drag and drop. If they're already electronic, we can simply grab them wherever they are, drag them into the appropriate folder, and that's where they will live.
Okay.
Or, of course, we can hit the store button, which will allow us to browse out to wherever we are and store documents that way.
Okay.
We do have a print driver available, so meaning any software you're using that you can print from, eFileCabinet will show up as a printer and allow you to choose that. So rather than picking the brother printer across the room, pick eFileCabinet, it'll ask you where you want to store it, and you can store the document that way as well.
Okay.
Finally, we have an integration with the Office suite, Outlook, Word, Excel, things like that, which will allow you with a single click to send documents into eFileCabinet and retain them in their native format. Okay. Well, again, very simple ways of doing things. Anybody who's touched a computer knows what those things are. Those are things they've done. Okay. Finding them can be just as simple, I guess, really. So if I know the name of somebody I'm looking for, so I want to go find Walter, I can simply type in Walter. And there's a drawer with Walter's name on it, and everything's stored somewhere in that drawer. Okay.
Okay.
So I can search based off of name of the drawer, name of the document, and certainly find whatever I need to in that regard, if that's what I'm looking for. Furthermore,
so let me ask you on that. So you said you integrate with Office. Well, Office does put a lot of metadata inside their files that aren't necessarily viewable to your, I guess, when you print out a document, it won't always print this metadata. Does this search that metadata?
No.
No. Okay.
If it's not visible to you, it's not visible to the system.
Well, it is. You just have to go to File, and then it lets you view the properties of the file, such as the author, the creation date, any other tags that you have set.
Unless we add those into the system, it's not going to search those.
Okay.
Yep.
And it does not add that automatically whenever you send it to. Okay.
No, sir. Furthermore, we do have profile or metadata information in ours. So if that's something that has been added either via zonal OCR or you've added it yourself, we can search for that. So here I've got 1331. It gives me Jimmy Dean and some documents there, but nothing here named 1331.
Right.
When I click on Jimmy, you'll see that lives down there in his customer number field.
Okay.
Obviously,
now,
anything we add here will become searchable.
Okay. Will it search the contents of the file?
That's exactly where we're headed. So I'm glad you asked.
Good.
So as I go up to an advanced search, you'll notice I can search for date ranges and was it stored or modified, text in the name, specific cabinets, drawers, folders. You can see all the things I can search off of. And then this one is the next one, right? The one that you're asking about. That full text search in a file. So if I go look for the word rain, I'm going to run that search. See, I get a PDF document here that is not named rain, right?
Okay.
And I click on that, you'll see I have no profile information, just so you know I'm not cheating. So it doesn't say rain down there, but when we go to that preview, you'll see that that word actually does exist in that document.
Okay.
So we can find what we need that way as well. So that's the standard OCR. So we talked about those two bolt-on pieces. There's the zonal OCR and the standard OCR. That search that we just ran is just standard OCR.
Okay. Now, let's say we had an Excel document right there, and we wanted to make a modification to it. Can we just double-click it in there, make our modification, save it, and close it, and be done?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can either bring it in and overwrite the previous one or bring it in as a new version.
Okay.
Yep.
But it doesn't happen automatically, though, when I close, when I save it and when I close Excel.
You can. It can do that. So if you default it to just say, I want a new version every time I do this, then it will just automatically save it as a new version and bring it back in. Yeah.
Okay. But it won't override it, though, automatically.
Again, you can choose that if that's what you want.
Okay. Good.
Yep. You can choose those defaults. That's up to you.
Very good.
Other questions while we're here?
I don't think so. That pretty much covered them.
Perfect. So as you mentioned, we do work on a check-in, check-out process. Just to show you that, I mean, obviously, if I am on this document, let me go to that one actually and check that document. So I just double-clicked it. I'm going to check that document out. you're going to notice a couple of things. One, it's going to open in its native format. This is a PDF, so it's opening in my PDF viewer. We're looking at the same thing here.
Okay.
It does lock that document to me, checked out by me. Other people could see the preview, but they could not check it out simply because we don't want two people trying to edit the same document at the same time.
Okay.
When we're done, of course, we can close it. Had we made changes, it would ask us to save those. We didn't make any changes, so we don't have anything to worry about. Now, I haven't defaulted that. You can see remember my decision, right? So in this case, I just want to check it back in. So I'll just highlight it and hit yes. The lock will disappear. Now that document's back in and ready for someone else to be able to.
Okay. Now, if I decided that I made changes, but I don't want to check them back in, can I revert that lock right there?
You can. Sure.
Okay, good.
So you can check it back in and not save the changes if that's what you'd like to do. When you close that document out, it's going to ask you to save them. If you don't want to save them, just say no, and it won't save your changes.
Okay, and it will unlock it?
It will.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and the truth is, an administrator, so let's say that's you, Mike, can always go in and check a document back in. So let's say somebody checked a document out and then they left on vacation for 2 weeks. You can force that document back in. You'll lose any changes that person made, but you can check the document back in, right? So it's not like it's just stuck forever. Okay.
So I noticed that you have right here 1098 and then 1098 V1, 2, and so forth. Is that how you maintain versions?
It is.
Okay. Okay. So there's not simply one file there with multiple versions and I can look at them. There's actually distinct separate files there.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yep, that's correct. If you need to share a document, it's very easy with a right click. We can email that document right from eFileCabinet if that's something that we need or want to do.
Okay.
We can also use the little icon up top if we need. We can, of course, print it. We can change our retentions, and we have a secure client portal. So if you have some documents you're sending that are a little more sensitive in nature, and you don't necessarily want to send those just plain old email, you don't have to do so. We do have that secure portal that we can share with share with our external clients as well.
Okay.
That's something that we need or want to do.
And that's included with the on-site?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir, it is. The administration tab, again, I hate to get into too much of this. We're getting into kind of the weeds here, but just bear in mind that those who are not administrators would never have this, so they can't go in and see these things, but you as a manager could.
Good.
Where OCR settings are there. Our profile fields are managed. We've got audit logs, so we know every click that was made in the system, who did it, when they did it, what they did. The only thing we can't tell you is why they did it.
Okay.
Boy, we'd be making a lot of money if we could do that.
Right.
So we can kind of manage all those things. And then one of the other things that our enterprise version does come with is our advanced workflow, which allows us to come in and create flows that documents need to go through for approvals or whatever those things might need to be, right? In this case, it's an invoice that needs to be paid. That invoice would come into an unpaid invoices folder, get assigned to whomever it needs to. That person would either decide it's a bad invoice or move it on. As it moves on, the real nice piece of the advanced workflow is that we can make it conditional, meaning with that profile information I talked to you about. So let's say a check came in or an invoice came in and it's for 10 grand, it'll go to the president. If it's for 5,000, it'll go to the vice president because it knows based on that dollar amount which way to go.
Okay.
If it's for 2,000 or less, it'll go to just the accounting director, right? And then they get to make their decisions. They either approve it and move it on for payment, or they deny it. They leave a reason why they denied it, and from there we send a message to whomever we need to as to why it was denied and what we need to do to get it fixed.
Okay.
So that is part of that Enterprise Edition, is that advanced workflow with those conditional routing features and things of that nature.
Very good.
Apart from that, Mike, I mean, I think you've seen the basics of eFileCabinet. That is what we do and how we do it. There's certainly some deeper, darker things I think that are there, but what you need right now is simplicity, the ability to get in, make sure it works get people comfortable with it, and then we can add those other things and start using other things as the time is right. So,
okay.
At that point, it's really open to your thoughts or questions from here on out.
Well, I mean, I think that pretty much covered it. I'm sure that he will have more questions, and I'll be the go-between to go back and forth and get them answered. But I mean, I think that is that's pretty good. I mean, I'm sure, as I said, I'm sure he's going to have a ton of questions, but I think that
whatever we need to do, I'm happy to answer those questions. If he'd like to reach out to me himself, he can. If he'd like you to be the go-between, that's fine too. Whatever you guys would like to do, I'll do whatever I can to make sure that those questions are answered.
Okay, very good. I think that's it then. If you wouldn't mind sending me the link for this, then I will get it over to him and